Good morning and welcome to the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. And we thank you for joining us as the Youth and Adolescents Policy Division of the Ministry introduces you to the national youth leaders who have been appointed to the Youth Advisory Council, as well as those who will be serving on the executive of the National Youth Council of Jamaica and the Jamaica Union of Tertiary Students. My name is Lisa Rowe, Media Liaison Officer here at the Education Ministry, and I will be taking you through this morning's proceedings. Now, this morning, we are pleased to be joined by the Honorable Robert Nesta Morgan, Minister of State in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, Ms. Jamie Ann Chavans, Senior Director for the Youth and Adolescents Policy Division. We also have respective youth leaders from the various youth groups. Representing the Youth Advisory Council is Mr. Orville Levy and Ms. Yannick Tracy, Mr. Siobhan Brown, the Chairman of the National Youth Council of Jamaica, and Ms. Christina Williams, President of the Jamaica Union of Tertiary Students, members of the media, and of course, those who are joining us live on our social media platforms. As stated, we are streaming live on our social media platforms. That's Facebook, YouTube, and the handles MOEYI Jamaica. And we're also on Zoom, so welcome to our media partners there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me pleasure to hand over to our co-captain here at the Education Ministry, the Honorable Robert Nesta Morgan, Minister of State in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, who will give an overview of the programs.
Thank you very much, Lisa, and thanks to all who have been able to tune in, and also want to thank the youth leaders who have taken the time out, not just to be here today, but also to participate in a new generation of leadership in the country. I want to give you a general overview of what these organizations represent and just a small introduction as to the leadership that have been elected and appointed in some cases. The first one I wish to outline is the Youth Advisory Council of Jamaica, which was established in 2016 and is intended to facilitate continuous engagement of young people in youth development policy and programming actions of the government of Jamaica. It is a structure geared towards the fulfillment of youth participation at all levels of decision making. And in this respect, works to mainstream the needs of youth throughout the government of Jamaica programs and activities during all phases of program development. It comprises a minimum of 15 young people and no more than 20. And I'm pleased to announce that this year, we have 20 young persons who have been selected. The selection committee is appointed by myself and is established with the mandate to select the best cadre of Jamaican youth who have demonstrated exceptional potential in their achievements and their drive to continue to their communities. We establish an evaluation rubric and eligibility criteria guided by the terms of reference and application form, and which is agreed on by the selection committee. All applicants were checked and verified against the eligibility criteria by the technical secretariat. I want to announce the members, and something very important this year is that this year, we have an equal number of male and female members of the Youth Advisory Council of Jamaica, meaning that we have a 50-50 division. We have on the female side, Alicia Henry, Angeli Henry Fennell, Arian Roxborough, Damoy Thompson, Marlene Campbell, Nassali Brown, Patrice Hansen, Tony Ann Mundle, Yannick Mendez, and Yannick Tracy. And on the male side, we have Andrew Johnson, Andrew Hines, Chad Ratchery, David Salmon, Dwayne Haynes, Jovan Mowat, Najee Nunes, Nicholas James, Orville Levy, and Roshane Ferron. There is also another group which is as important to the youth leadership system in Jamaica, and that is the Jamaican Union of Tertiary Students. This year, we have a very strong committee, executive committee, which has a president, first vice president, two vice presidents, first and second vice presidents, general secretary, a deputy general secretary, a treasurer, deputy treasurer, director, and deputy director of communications. It is a democratic, independent, non-profit, non-sectarian, and non-partisan national student-led organization comprising of a confederation of governing student bodies, popularly known as students' association councils, guilds, unions, and movements in colleges and universities island-wide. The Jamaica Union of Tertiary Students has been organized at the national level since 1972 by the government in its democratization plan within the education system. The organization represents and defends the interests of approximately 75,000 students from over 28 tertiary institutions island-wide. The National Student-Led Organization's mandate seeks to promote student rights and interests while encouraging student responsibility and participation in decision-making processes in the education system. This year, we have President-elect Ms. Christina Williams, first Vice President in charge of Advocacy Research and Policy, Suyen Thompson, second Vice President, Dashawn Lacroix, General Secretary, Tony Janelle Townsend, Deputy General Secretary-elect, Darcia Antoinette Reed, Treasurer-elect Glenardo Simpson, Deputy Treasurer-elect Jalan Anthony Welch, and Director of Communications-elect Brianna Sabrina Russell, while Javon Gordon is Deputy Director of Communications-elect. I now move on to the National Youth Council of Jamaica. The Youth Council is a youth-led umbrella organization for youth clubs across Jamaica and seeks to foster youth participation at the community level and advocate for youth participation in all levels of governance through providing assistance in formulation, implementation, and evaluation of government policy regarding youth. It is comprised of a 6-member national executive for which elections were held between April 1 and 2, 2021, 13 parish executives, and the municipality of Portmore with 5 members of the executive. Executive members of the council and its parishes are selected through an election process. All executive members must be between 15 and 27 years of age, except the national chairperson and parish presidents, who must be 18 to 27 years of age. Due to COVID restrictions, elections for the 2021-2023 executives were hosted virtually via the election runner platform. Membership of the NYCJ is open to any youth organization, provided that it is non-partisan, it is voluntary, it is a minimum of 15 members exclusive of the executive. 2/3 of its members are between 13 and 29, and it has an elected executive. This year, I'll just announce the head of the chairperson and the general secretary, who is Siobhan Brown, who is the chairman of the National Youth Council, and Cedrine Malcolm, who is the general secretary of the National Youth Council of Jamaica. Why is it important that we're having this function today? A big part of the conversation taking place within our society is the importance of the youth voice in national discussion and debate. We here at the Ministry of Education have decided to continue the rich tradition within our society where youth are front and center especially in decision-making that impacts them. Not only that, but we're seeking to make the youth voice more prominent in the decision-making and also in the action that takes place after the decision-making. We're seeking to put youth prominent within the society, hold them up, promote them while encouraging them to act responsibly, encouraging them to be strong advocates for the interest of young people and by extension, the interest of Jamaica generally. I know I'm going to put them on the spot, but I'm going to be asking eventually. I hear somebody being nervous. I want to ask both we have two co-chairs actually for the Youth Advisory Council of Jamaica, which is something very new. So I'm going to ask Ms. Tracy if she could come and give us her understanding of what her role is before the moderator takes back over. Ms. Tracy.
Thank you so much, Mr. State Minister. Thank you everyone who's watching currently. And with this role that we have embarked on today in influencing policies for young people, and we are equipped and ready for the platform to enforce the things that we need to happen when it comes on to young people. Any way that we can hold the mantle to pass it on, to alleviate the pressures of things that are facing young people right now. And we are so excited to embark on this journey. And being a counselor myself, I am directly looking to impact the minds of our young people and to enhance critical thinking in any way we can serve. We are here to build. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tracy. Very, very quick on your feet to be responding so well, might I add. All right, so at this time, we're going to allow members of the media to ask their questions based on what Minister Morgan would have presented earlier. We're going to remind you to use the raise hand feature on our Zoom platform, and then you'll be acknowledged. I'm just going to step away so that Minister Morgan can just stand in place and respond to the question so that we can move through the program quite easy.
Do we have any questions?
I believe Mr. Javon Keys. Javon Keys from the TVJ.
Thank you, Mr. Keys.
Why was it important for
What program specifically are you talking about?
looking at JOTS, looking at the youth advisory council, etc.
All right, so I think the fact that we are in a pandemic is even a more stronger reason why these programs need to continue. The reality is that many of our young people have become disenfranchised, particularly from the education system. For example, many of our young people do not have access to the technology to give them access to their educational resources. Additionally, at the university level, many university students have to be doing virtual learning. We have challenges with people accessing ability to get their labs, people with the ability to get their grades, people with the ability to pay their school fees. So it is very important that we have the youth voice who are on the ground with their colleagues, who understand the challenges that their colleagues are facing and have access to the central ministry and to the top of the government administration where we can hear, because I am not at the University of the West Indies. I'm not at the high schools. I am not in the community clubs. So if you do not have organizations that are on the ground that represent young people, many of their voices will not be heard. So as we are in a pandemic, it is even more important that we maintain a connection and ensure that these organizations survive, so that they can help young people to survive the pandemic as well. And remember, it's not just about us giving to them in terms of helping their secretariat, it's about them giving back to their communities. Significantly, a lot of these organizations run significant charitable programs throughout the year where they're working in communities, helping out the elderly. A lot of the youth clubs are running programs in the pandemic to educate people about coronavirus and the importance of vaccination and so on. So if you view it as just a one-way flowing of resources, then you would not understand how important the collaboration is, especially between the young people and their communities and their desire to contribute to their communities by being leaders in their communities and accessing help from outside to bring in. Do we have any other questions?
Not seeing any more questions, Minister Morgan.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
That's it, Lisa.
Thank you, Minister Morgan, for responding to Javon Keys from TVJ, asking questions, very important questions about the initiatives of the Youth and Adolescents Policy Division. Now, this is where we're going to end our program this morning. We want to thank everyone who would have joined us on our social media platforms. Special thanks to members of the media who are on Zoom, and also to SG Productions for providing us with live stream services. Special thanks, of course, to Minister Morgan for making himself available this morning to join us for our press conference. So we look forward to the stories from the media, and we wish you a very safe and restful weekend. Good. I think it's afternoon now, it's still morning. Good morning. My name is Lisa Rowe. Have a great weekend. Thank you.